intuition, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be, for justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. Then these crime busters run, no victims left in pain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing wonderful tonight. Chemistry Queen, good to see you. Oh, thank you so much, hon. I love you too. Aw, that's awesome. Hello, Ginger Girl. So let's see here.
Granny wants to thank you all for kindness in the chat. Super stickers, bright and grand, gifts of love we understand.
Memberships you gifted here, spread the joy and banish fear. Every super thanks you send warms her heart and ends the end.
Granny cheers with love so true for each special thing you do. Thank you from her heart. You all play a major part.
Thank you, Chemistry Queen, from my heart. I really appreciate it. Hello, Brenda Joe. Good to see you. So Easter is tomorrow, guys. Happy Easter. I was thinking about all of the evil that's been going on lately in and around the Sebastian Rogers case, right? You know, and if you know anything about the Easter story at all, on Friday, you know, it seemed as though evil won. But by Sunday, you know, good prevailed. So I just want to encourage everybody that we have good on our side. Sebastian has good on his side. And we're going to see good prevail in this case. I believe that with all my heart. I really do, no matter how dark it looks sometimes. I really believe that the light will be shown and the good will prevail over the evil. Hello, Melissa. Good to see you. SRB, good to see you as well. Hope everybody's having a good night. Michelle, happy Easter to you too. It's good to see you. Awesome to see you guys. What's everybody doing for Easter? Do you guys have traditions that you do? We used to. It's weird how the older you get, you know, it's just my parents' generation was the one that kept everybody together, and we used to have Easter celebrations. I remember my mom used to dress us up, and we have these pretty Easter dresses, my sister and I, and usually the same dress but a different color, pastel color. We'd have these little white gloves and the purses and the hats, the bonnets, and pretty new white shoes, right? Because you could wear white for Easter. Oh, yeah. Those were the days, right? Yeah, there aren't traditions anymore, are there? Aw, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, the traditions kind of went away. I think, with our generation, we raised our kids and they went off to college, and they moved away, right? And so it's harder to get people together, and it just, really, really sad thing. So, oh, so my kids are grown. I still do Easter baskets for my son who's still home and my husband and I. That's cute. Yes, yes, definitely. Happy Easter to everyone. Hello, Samantha. Good to see you. Happy Easter. And Ginger says we are getting excited about our Pascha services that start at 10 p.m. and go to midnight. When we have our Easter baskets blessed before a huge feast. Oh, that's cool. Sounds like fun. That's awesome. So what I wanted to discuss today is I found another video from Deception Detective, Mr. Yummy. And he points out something very weird, guys. So we're going to go ahead and play that and discuss it. So, and he said, this is getting weird now.
You want to say to anyone out there who wants to say that one of you could have something to do with Sebastian's disappearance?
I would say to pause and to think, and I would say to consider the sources of information. Try to make sure that you're getting legitimate information. Avoid the rumors.
That's Katie Proudfoot, and I think she and her husband Chris Proudfoot both have something to do with the disappearance of their son Sebastian Rogers. So her message there was for people like me. And it was actually pretty encouraging because she didn't say that we're wrong or mistaken or lying, nor did she say that she and Chris are innocent or that they didn't have anything to do with the disappearance. So
did you notice, guys, how he's starting out his videos with, that is Chris, or that is Katie Proudfoot, and I believe that her and her husband, Christopher Proudfoot, have something to do with the disappearance of their son, Sebastian Rogers. Both the last two videos, he has started out with that. I find that very interesting. Oh, Melissa, that's awesome. Nice service at church, yeah. All right, so let's continue on.
Today's video, let's continue analyzing their most recent TV interview for signs of guilty knowledge. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe. For early access to new videos, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. Even if you're familiar with this case or have been following along on my Sebastian Rogers playlist, you might not be aware of the newest development in the case. So here's a quick update because they're about to touch on this new lead in this part of the interview.
The teen with autism disappeared from his mom and stepdad's Hendersonville home in the overnight hours of February 26th.
We do believe there's a chance it is Sebastian. We're just trying to find out if that could be the case.
Steve Fisher, a private investigator hired by Katie and Chris Proudfoot, says this video that first aired on WSMV4 could be a new lead in the ongoing search for Sebastian. Video from the night Sebastian disappeared.
We went through over 100 hours of surveillance, and it wasn't until the third pass through the surveillance that we even spotted this person. And there's a person at 12:17 a.m. in the same neighborhood that Sebastian's from, that walks southbound in the neighborhood, goes behind a vehicle. It appears that they're trying to stay out of sight of another person that's walking their dog, and then doubles back after it's clear.
Fisher says he's working to learn if that person wearing dark clothing in the video is accounted for in the investigation.
So the Proudfoot's own private investigator says that there might be video footage of him sneaking away in the middle of the night. Put a pin in that because that's going to be important as we listen on. Finally, one last thing before we grab our deception decks and start analyzing Chris and Katie. I think Katie and Chris are studying my videos and adapting what they say in interviews to try to sound more innocent. And I'm aware of how self-centered that sounds, but many of you all who have been following this case since day one in far more minute detail than I have seem to agree. So when I point out some of those features like I'm about to do in a minute, just be aware that I'm only pointing it out because I think it's actually happening. All right, without further ado, let's listen.
I don't think he's being egotistic at all. I think Katie and Chris are watching him and Mike DeMann. I honestly believe that with all my heart. Because they have gotten better. But seriously, guys, if you had a child missing, let's just go here for a minute. If you had a child missing and you were out there speaking your truth, the truth, right? The truth. Okay. Would you care? Would you care what others thought if you were telling the truth? I mean, I'd still be focusing on my child missing, right? I certainly would not be watching statement analysis about myself to get better. Am I all wet here, guys? Think about it. Why would you have to why would you have to go look at Mr. Yummy's videos and what he's saying and try to make yourself better? Do you think Seth has bothered doing that? Seth doesn't care what the obstacles say, does he? I mean, he really doesn't. He doesn't care. Do you think Seth is pouring over Mr. Yummy's and Mike DeMann's videos to make sure that he says and does all the right things? I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy. But I have no doubt that that is exactly what they're doing. No doubt in my mind. Hello, K9. Good to see you. Noni, good to see you as well. Yeah, Melissa, I'd be too busy looking to watch videos. Yeah. Yeah, what are you cooking, Noni? We always used to have ham. I had ham and I made when I was first married back in the 70s, 1976, 75, 76. I was given a crock pot for a wedding gift, right? And I didn't know how to cook, guys. My mother never taught me. She was always the type, stay out of the kitchen. You know, you can never do it right for her. Couldn't even cut an onion right. I mean, it was bad. So I didn't know how to cook. So I read these recipes and I got this recipe out of the crock pot for ham and scalloped potatoes. Now, I didn't put the ham in there. You know, I just made the scalloped potatoes part of it. So good. So good. And, you know, up until recently, because I haven't had anybody ask me to make them lately, but always for Easter, everybody would say, can you make your scalloped potatoes? You know, so we'd have ham and scalloped potatoes and, you know, traditional green bean casserole, but we'd put Velveeta in it. You know, and all the other good stuff, sweet potatoes, you know, all kinds of stuff. Your mom was a terrible cook? My mom was a good cook. Brenda Joe's mom was a good cook. So when those two would get together and they'd cook for all of us, the big family as a whole, oh yeah, yum yum. It was really good. Really good. Um, but my mom never taught me how to cook. Hello, Pitter Patter. Happy Easter to you. Yeah, that recipe, it was very simple, but it was so good. So good. It was roast beef and chicken. Oh, no salty ham for him. Gotcha. Oh, Samantha. Yeah, but those potatoes, you would layer sliced potatoes, salt and pepper, onion, cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, and keep layering like that. Potatoes, salt and pepper, onion, shredded cheddar cheese, potatoes, salt and pepper and onion, cheddar cheese. And then the top, right at the very top, you'd put a can of cream of mushroom soup, nothing else, and let it cook on low for 8 hours. Guys, I'm telling you what, it is so good. It's really good. Oh, you put green cream cheese. Huh, I bet that was good too. And then the French onion crunchies on top. Yeah. Green bean casserole with Velveeta is the bomb. It really is. It's good. You guys are making me hungry. It's the best part about holidays, isn't it? Eating with family. That's just the best, right? I hated cleaning up, but the last, I don't know, 10 years or so, my sister's husband would say, "Linda, you cooked, I'll clean up." You know, that was such a blessing to me. I was always the type of cook where, I cleaned as I went. So basically it was just what pans everything was in, which, I had the big Nesco for the ham and all that stuff. But hello, Pam. Good to see you. Yeah, you have a blessed Easter too. All right, let's get back to Mr. Yummy.
What is that message? I know we were talking earlier last week. Tell me what that message is that you want to make sure our viewers hear from you tonight.
I want to thank everyone who is searching. I want to thank everyone who is spreading flyers, spreading awareness. I want to ask everyone not to forget, and I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much, and that we are going to keep searching. We are going to keep looking. We are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Not talking directly to him, Katie.
Describe your hope right now.
There's so many problems here. This is actually where I left off the last video because I just didn't have the energy to break it all down. So we're going to do that now. And what's going to guide us is this simple principle, the entire principle behind my entire channel. Lying is hard. It's like cooking. You can have the whole recipe right in front of you, but that doesn't mean that when you get in the kitchen and start actually cracking eggs, you're going to make an omelet like Gordon Ramsay. And here's what I mean. Katie did two things in this part of the interview that match my missing child presser checklist. These are 7 things that I've noticed that innocent parents typically do spontaneously when they have an audience. For example, they have a call to action, like giving out a phone number to call if you spot their kid, or telling you where to go pick up flyers to help hang them, or giving out a website for people to go to register to become a volunteer. But all Katie did was say that she just wants people to keep helping. She didn't even ask for more people to start helping. In other words, it looks like she's following the recipe to sound innocent, but it's a lot harder than it seems. The other thing all the innocent parents we've analyzed on the channel do is they directly address their kid through the camera. And that's because, for all they know, their kid might be out there watching. This instinct is so strong, I even posted an example of Kyron Hormone's mother doing it through a billboard. I promise I will find you. I will never stop. Love, Mama. And while Katie did address Sebastian, she didn't directly address him. She told the journalist what she would say to him in the third person, which isn't the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but reinforces my belief that she's following my recipe and failing to understand just how nuanced that recipe is. And when I
Failing to understand just how nuanced that recipe is. Yeah, Pam, exactly. Right? Not to forget you are withholding information. So yeah, I mean, you heard me say when she said it, you're not talking to him, Katie. I would say third person, right? She wasn't talking directly to Sebastian. And then, oh, guys, oh, the big tear rolled down her face. Did you see the big tear? Did you see that? Oh, it was very dramatic. Should we look at that big tear again? Let's look at the big tear.
Home.
There it goes. Watch the tear. I'm sorry. Oh, I do not believe her. She could cry till the cows come home. I don't believe her, guys. I'm sorry. Well, you get your glasses. Oh, you can see it on her face right now, kind of. Oh, man. Um, I mean, she's trying. She's trying to follow his recipe, but it's not working. She, she's she's trying to follow his 7 things about innocent parents, but she's failing miserably, Pam. She just really is. Um, I think the tears may be real. I will say that. But I think when she closes her eyes, she sees what she did. And that's where the tears come from, in my opinion. You can tell me if I'm wrong. Well, she doesn't they don't live there. They live in the RV most of the time, don't they? I mean, how often do they stay at the house, guys? So what is home to Katie? The RV? I mean, exactly. Trying to win an Oscar, fail, tears from guilt. Yeah. She closed her eyes, regret. Yeah. She closed her eyes, she sees what she did. Whatever that was, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I think she did because I don't know, guys. But she was the last person, to our knowledge, that saw Sebastian, right? She was alone with him when they got home. Last person to see him. She knows something, right? So that tear is from her regret, her guilt, whatever it is. You think so? Well, they wouldn't let him in the house. Do you think they let him in the RV? I don't know. Chris is so closed off. He doesn't want anybody around his stuff, his truck. Right? He doesn't want anybody around his truck, his house. I don't know. It'll be interesting to find out, won't it? I can't wait for that to come out, but weirdly, they didn't do the interview at their own home. I know. Where did they do it? Does anybody know? I'm curious where they did the interview. Was it in the RV? Because they refused to let them see Sebastian's room. Why? Any other innocent parent would have left that room the same way that it was on the day that Sebastian disappeared. Truck, mother, and billboards, that's right. But anybody else would have left that room the same way. Right? Probably the only, and that's what Seth did with Sebastian's room at his house, right? The only difference is that Seth put Sebastian's Christmas presents on his bed, right? Those kinds of things. There's still a chance Sebastian could have gone outside, wandered off, and got lost, but there's no way I will ever believe in a million years Sebastian ran away. Katie knows where Sebastian is at. Samantha, I suppose there's a chance, but I respectfully disagree with you because of the fact that he would have been seen on camera and there was no scent of him around that house. So that tells me he didn't walk off. He didn't walk out that door. He was carried out. A very special location, I think CP said. Really? The park? A house in Gallatin? Oh, if it was at a house in Gallatin, was that his... Whoops, here we go, guys. Was that his mother's house? No, I'm not supposed to say truck, mother, and billboards, but I do anyway. Very special location. All right, let's continue.
Describe your hope right now.
There's so many problems here. This is actually where I left off the last video because I just didn't have the energy to break it all down. So we're going to do that now. And what's going to guide us is this simple principle, the entire principle behind my entire channel. Lying is hard. It's like cooking. You can have the whole recipe right in front of you, but that doesn't mean that when you get in the kitchen and start actually cracking eggs, you're going to make an omelet like Gordon Ramsay. And here's what I mean. Katie did two things in this part of the interview that match my missing child presser checklist. These are 7 things that I've noticed that innocent parents typically do spontaneously when they have an audience. For example, they have a call to action, like giving out a phone number to call if you spot their kid, or telling you where to go pick up flyers to help hang them, or giving out a website for people to go to register to become a volunteer. But all Katie did was say that she just wants people to keep helping. She didn't even ask for more people to start helping. In other words, it looks like she's following the recipe to sound innocent, but it's a lot harder than it seems. The other thing all the innocent parents we've analyzed on the channel do is they directly address their kid through the camera. And that's because, for all they know, their kid might be out there watching. This instinct is so strong, I even posted an example of Kyron Hormone's mother doing it through a billboard. I promise I will find you. I will never stop. Love, Mama. And while Katie did address Sebastian, she didn't directly address him. She told the journalist what she would say to him in the third person, which isn't the same thing, but reinforces my belief that she's following my recipe and failing to understand just how nuanced that recipe is. And when I hit play, I'm actually going to rewind a bit because you can see the exact moment this idea occurs to her, as though it literally were an item on a checklist. But before I do, I want to point out one final red flag in this segment. And that's when Katie talked about other missing children. Now, I could understand that if Sebastian's body had been recovered, or if he'd been missing for decades, and now these parents became advocates for missing children around the world. But he's only been missing for a year. So the last thing I would expect her to do is basically encourage volunteers to move on to other cases. All right, let's keep listening and pay attention right when I hit play.
And I want to encourage people to keep helping and to keep bringing awareness, not only to our son, but to all of the missing children, because they all deserve to go home. And I would also like to say that if my son could hear it, that we love him so much and that we are going to keep searching. We are going to keep looking. We are going to find him and we are going to bring him home.
Describe your hope right now.
I'm trying to be positive as I can because I know that my son is out there. I struggle to find words to even describe how it feels anymore because it's a living nightmare, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the fact that Sebastian is out there and that we are looking for him, and we're going to keep looking for him, and we're going to keep praying to God that he is okay. And we're going to bring him home.
This story, we know it's baffled our Hendersonville community. We know it's baffled the mid-state community. It's baffled much.
Guys, I just have to say this. I am glad that I don't have to watch local news and see her face, because with what I know about her in the Solomon case, she irritates me badly. Keep me in your prayers on that. But I look at her and I just, oh, I struggle. I look at her and I struggle. This is Holly Thompson, by the way, of Channel 4.
Much of the country as they hear about it. Is there anything that stands out to you that's the most baffling? Like you're just trying to understand.
How we've gone this long and still haven't found him, honestly, is... I don't understand how we haven't found him yet.
Why do you think Sebastian is still missing?
That's tough to say. I mean, it was the largest manhunt in Tennessee history for a
Are you
child,
proud, Chris?
and absolutely zero evidence. There's
That's
nothing
cool.
out there.
Evidence implies a crime. So the fact that Chris and Katie constantly use that word is not lost on me. And it's definitely not lost on my subscribers either, because many of you have pointed this out in the comments of my last few videos. But what's even stranger is the fact that they say there is no evidence. Because as I showed you in the intro, the most recent update from their own private investigator is that there might be evidence that Sebastian ran away. He might have been spotted on camera, which makes me wonder what knowledge Chris and Katie have that the rest of us don't, that allows them to rule that out as evidence already. Personally, I think the answer is leakage. As I keep saying, lying is hard, and that's because we always speak based on what we know, even if we're trying to be deceptive. So sometimes the fact that we know something can leak out through what we say. I'm not saying this is proof that Chris and Katie killed.
Isn't that interesting, guys? So, Deception Detective probably hasn't seen Mob Crew's video about that, about the man with his dog, right? About that video that SF claims is evidence of Sebastian, possibly be Sebastian. Mr. Yummy is saying that Chris and Katie have already ruled out that video because of their language, their leakage. Isn't that interesting? Okay, let me see what I'm missing here. You guys have just been talking. Okay. When law enforcement says they have no evidence of Sebastian leaving the house, I have to reject the runaway theory. Yeah, exactly. I will never understand why Katie wasted 3 hours talking to her Teletubby husband instead of focusing on her autistic son. Well, allegedly he was in bed. But we don't know, right? She is such a bad mom. She and only KP knows what happened. Yeah. Yep. And neither does Chris. Neither one of them. I think they have some evidence. Ellie is obviously not talking to you anymore. That's right. And Seth and Tony have said repeatedly that they have evidence. But Chris and Katie like to make everyone think there is no evidence. None. Well, tell you what, guys, if what we've heard recently is true, that Chris told Katie or Chris told law enforcement on the 26th when he got there that they were not going to interrogate his wife. All right. So they, I mean, what does that say to law enforcement right away? So, yes, they let them go in the house and do all this other kind of stuff. But they weren't talking to them. And obviously, they're not talking to them now, right? We heard that she lawyered up. When did she lawyer up? On the 26th of February, 2024? Sebastian Rogers' case matches the missing of Jonathan Huang. There are some similarities. They don't match completely 100%, but there are many similarities. I looked into that case and talked about it. If you want to go back and look through, I have a picture of both of them on the thumbnail. But his linkage card here says liars can unintentionally reveal the truth through their choice of words, as it's challenging to suppress real memories while telling falsehoods. If someone repeatedly uses an unusual phrase or word, it might be a clue worth investigating. What word does Chris and Katie repeatedly use? The word evidence. Is no evidence. Rephrase, no evidence. Yeah, they have guilty knowledge. They do. Absolutely. But I found it interesting to note that Deception Detective didn't know that basically that video had been debunked, right? But he figured out that Chris and Katie had already debunked that video by their words. I find that very interesting.
Sebastian are that they know he's dead, but it could indicate that they have some knowledge about what happened to him that we don't. Because I saw that video footage too, and I can't say for certain whether or not the person is Sebastian or not. To me, it just looks like a clump of pixels that could be anyone.
Absolutely zero evidence. There's nothing out
I love what he said. I couldn't tell if that was Sebastian or not. To me, it was just a clump of pixels. That is exactly what I said about the blob pictures, right, guys? A clump of pixels.
There, law enforcement's working due diligently. They are working hard over and over and over. You know, we appreciate everything they do. I mean, it is an active investigation.
They're working diligently and they're working hard. How do you know, Chris, they're not talking to you? How does Chris know they're working diligently and they're working hard? They're not talking to these two.
So I don't want to go into it, but it is mind blowing at the same time that it's been a year, and the amount of people that still don't know about this, it's unnerving, basically.
And I know you both want to try to get the word out as much as possible, and that's what this story, obviously, that's what we're trying to do as well. There are many people who still do not know that you all have hired a private investigator. What can you tell me about the video that he recently had?
There are many people that don't know he hired a private investigator. Where have you been, Holly? Right? I mean, oh, crazy. Seth said that Ellie ran out of money to print up flyers. CP, so how hard are they working? He doesn't know because they're not talking to him. Why? Because of his big mouth. Why? Because they're investigating them. They're not. These two sitting right here are the last two people that law enforcement is going to tell anything to right now. He shouldn't be allowed to tell LE that they can't interrogate his wife and them not do it. I agree with you, Melissa, 100%. I agree 100%. And the only way he's allowed to do that is to lawyer up. So is that when she lawyered up? Because basically they can take you in and talk to you and they can keep you there until you say, I want my lawyer. Then they have to stop interrogating you. So when did she really lawyer up, guys? And one of the creators had said that that Katie lawyered up much earlier than when it came out that she did.
Has discovered and wants to share. I know this has been shared with authorities now.
Yes,
It has.
This is involving the neighborhood that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about that video?
It's eye-opening to see that this is something that recently has surfaced, and it's been this long. It's just taken that long to find something. And what the video shows is kind of mind-boggling. We went from potentially not having a sighting to potentially having a sighting.
Both.
And it kind of changes, like, wait a minute, now we may have something to actually work off of and move forward with and see where this goes. Exercise every avenue till its fullest.
No
It
stone
doesn't matter.
unturned.
No stone unturned. And Katie, you told me earlier you were determined to get to the bottom of this, to get to the bottom of that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could possibly be something that could lead us to him. We're going to keep looking. We're going to keep digging and keep finding and confirm if it is or isn't, because
And I just want to remind everybody that within hours, law enforcement put a statement out that debunking that video. And this was before this interview had taken place.
I mean, if it's possible, then it's got to be confirmed.
How hopeful are you that this video truly has something that could lead to finding Sebastian?
In my last video, I pointed out something that Katie said, which I thought could potentially be leakage, or her revealing through her word choice that she knows that Sebastian is buried somewhere. And that's when she said, if he were to come in through the front door, she would bulldoze him with hugs. I pointed it out because it's such a bizarre choice of words and an expression I've never heard before. So you can imagine how my ears perked up in this video when she used these two expressions: leave no stone unturned, and we have to keep digging. Now, these expressions are far more common, but they have alternatives, and it's not like she was compelled to say them either. So as we continue listening on in this interview, we're going to listen out for words related to digging and hiding things in the earth, whether it's digging machinery or words related to the soil or anything along those lines. And if you caught any that I missed, drop them in the comments. In fact, on your screen now is a video that one of you told me about in the comments on my last video. It's Chris Proudfoot teaching Sebastian how to dig a hole with the mini excavator. This could all, of course, be totally coincidental, but if you followed my channel for a while, you'll know that leakage has allowed us to see around corners on multiple cases at this point. And if I were leading the search for Sebastian, I'd be allocating funds towards looking in the ground. Want to continue analyzing this case? Let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. Till next time, stay true.
Wow, guys. It's the first time I watched it with you. I'm speechless. I am speechless. He's a professional, right? But I don't know what to think, honestly. Oh, man. Chris, didn't you tell us that Sebastian Rogers was in your way of the New Mexico case custody of your daughter, Faith? So, you know, Chris and Katie, what happened to Sebastian Rogers? I know. I know. That's why I'm speechless, guys. You know, sometimes it's really difficult to keep the hope and keep the faith, right? Her choice of words is ironic, though, if you think about it. And yes, no stone unturned. It's a common phrase. Keep digging, common phrase. But when you put it with bulldozing him over with hugs, that's not common. And so then when you put all three together, I mean, I don't know, right? I don't know. Even Seth, on his rant, I guess, which has been taken down. But I'll remind you guys that it's on my video, so even he said something this last time about he didn't know if his son was alive or dead. Just a real quick reference he made to it, and it shocked me because that's the first time I heard Seth actually make a reference that there's a possibility his son might be gone. Yeah, I truly do not know how Seth gets up each day with faith in his heart. It's really true, guys. It's really true. I don't know how he does, and I'm sure that he hears things like this and for that moment thinks, oh my goodness, right? I'm not going to lie to you guys and say I haven't thought about it, especially now that a year has gone by. You know, I'm not going to lie and tell you I haven't entertained the fact that he just might be gone, right? But my heart doesn't want to believe it. When Seth said that, Melissa, yeah, I was too. I didn't point it out at the time simply because I didn't want that to be a narrative that was ran you know, with Seth's name on it, right? He's, he said a lot of things in the heat of the moment on that rant, right? Yes, okay. He said, "Hello, factory girl. Good to see you. We're happy to have you." He said a lot of things in the heat of the moment, and I don't blame him at all. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, things can come out that, well, kind of like leakage, right? Things that you think you may be thinking and you haven't said, right? And but I mean, I wasn't going to make a big deal of it because I don't want people to run with that, right? I don't want people to run with that. So it was kind of funny how Mr. Yummy left it that way, right? He kind of left us with thinking of what was said. And you a couple of you said in the ground, right? Horrible. It's been 14 months. Yeah. 14 months. Another Easter without him. And guys, it didn't seem that long ago when I remember Seth talking about Easter coming up, and he didn't want anybody talking about Sebastian. He wanted everybody to spend the holiday with their families. Do you remember that? It doesn't seem like that long ago. Does it? I remember it as if it was yesterday. You know? I remember him clearly saying that, you know? Just sad, very sad that he's spending yet another holiday without his son. He's human with human emotions. He's tired and he's frustrated. Yes, he is. And chemistry, he's got, and for the rant that he did, he has every right to be angry and to do that rant. I did not blame him in the least, you know? I mean, I think we need to clean our ears out with soap a little bit, but I didn't blame him at all. Yes, he did. He wanted an Easter miracle. He was hoping for one. Even though I had terrible dreams about this case, I still want to have faith and hope that Sebastian is alive somewhere. Yeah. I think we all do, right? But let's be honest. I think all of us want what Samantha just said. We want to have faith and hope that Sebastian is alive somewhere, right? But there is in the back of our mind that little niggling thought, right? In the ground. And I have to honestly tell you, Deception Detective added a little bit more to that niggling thought in my mind today. The billboards are bringing in new leads. Yes. And I did just hear that. I don't remember where. Doesn't matter. We don't talk about other creators here. But I did just hear that the billboards are bringing in new leads, guys. So that's a good thing. That is a really good thing. It's hard to believe how long this has gone on and all that has happened, yet we still wait. Yeah. You know, and here's the thing. We have prayed, right? We have prayed. And we're not the only ones that are praying. There are people all across America that are praying for Sebastian's return, right? And you got to wonder, you know, and it's all in God's timing, right? But you got to wonder, how long, Lord, right? How long? How long must we wait? How long must Seth wait? You know, it's more about him than it is us, right? It is CP and KP who make it hard to have hope that Sebastian is still alive. That's true. That's true. Because of their statements, right? And we just watched their statements. If we didn't watch Chris and Katie's statements, we wouldn't have a problem thinking wholeheartedly that Sebastian's coming home alive, right? I believe Seth Grant was expected for the position he's in now. At the end, though, he still doesn't have his precious son. That's right. That's right. And, you know, Factory Girl, it's sad that it had to even come to that for Seth, because his focus has been all about Sebastian. Guys, he has told us on his lives to ignore the obstacles. That's all they are. They're just obstacles we have to jump over. Right? Ignore them, he said. Remember? You know, and it's sad that it even had to get to that. You know, and how much worse has it gotten this week? Which again, we're not going to go there, but yeah. Yeah. Search anywhere. Just stay off private property. Yes, Seth did say he was tired of him verbally abusing women and children. Right? Yeah, search anywhere, just not his house, his truck, his mom's house. Oh, yeah. Stay off private property, right? Which what does that say? Has he hid Sebastian somewhere on someone's private property? I'm in their home. I'm saying, you know, like, did he give him to someone? There was just a video out today of someone talking about Portland, Tennessee, which, if you guys remember, I told you I lived in Portland. It's about 25 miles away from Hendersonville. And I mean, there's that whole area, if you're not right in the city limits, there's a lot of terrain, hills and woods and lakes, and that's why it's beautiful, guys. Um, but there is a lot around Portland. Um, so if he was off on someone's property, which this person said that Chris's family, several live in Portland, so if he was off on somebody's property and being kept there, not being able to go into town, who would see him, right? That's a really good point. You can't go over it, under it, or around it. You must go through it. And that is the case. Yeah, that is the case. Definitely for Seth, right? Totally the case. You can't fight it, because if you do, and I was just watching a podcast earlier. It was Lori Vallow's son, Colby, and he was talking. So any of you that know about this case, he was talking to the lead detective in the case, Ray Hermosillo, and they were just sitting on Colby's couch and they were just talking, and that's kind of what they were talking about. And the detective, Ray, he really shared how, finding the children's bodies in the backyard of Chad Daybell, how it affected him. And he was talking back and forth with Colby, and they were talking about how it's okay to not be okay. And I thought that was so powerful, because it's really true. And even for Seth in this circumstance, it's okay to not be okay. It's all right. When he gets up there on his lives, especially on Sebastian's birthday, and he cried, and we were all crying with him, right? It's okay to not be okay. Do you ever see that in Chris and Katie? Have we seen it once? We saw a big tear roll down her face tonight. One tear, one lone tear. Very dramatic. Was that the same thing as Seth not even being able to finish talking, because he was so distraught over the loss of his son? But it's okay to not be okay. And we need to remember that when we're going through stuff, right? We have to go through it. Can't go over it, under it, or around it. We have to go through it, and it's okay to not be okay. Where do I go from there, huh? This case, I don't know. It's grabbed hold of my heart, and it will not let go. Yeah. Mr. Chris has never shown an upset at all. I don't think he cared about Sebastian, honestly. I don't think he cares about anyone but himself. Right? I really don't. He hence, Katie's number 5. Okay. He's what, 41 years old, guys? He's on his 5th wife. I don't know. I mean, I think if that's where I was in life, I certainly wouldn't be getting on YouTube panels and acting like I know everything and trying to give advice on parenting and I'm I'm just saying I would be ashamed of myself. But, that's me. That's not him. All I have seen from Mr. Chris is rage at Seth and those searching for Sebastian. Yeah. Well, even at others, even at his team. You know, one of his own team talked about his truck. Heaven forbid you do that. um, and I don't even know what he was mad about with the other female creator. It doesn't even really matter. You know, it it's things that trigger him, right? Things that trigger him. So far, we've discovered that his mom, which I am really surprised because Seth let him have it on that rant and he talked about his mother. I am really, really surprised that didn't trigger Chris. I thought for sure it would. The obscene and perverted talk from Mr. Chris is very disturbing. Well, Seth got him back a little bit. CP is like an arsonist giving a lecture on fire prevention. Well, yeah. I thought he might have high blood pressure with so much anger. Well, when you look at the two of them, they're both really red. I mean, seriously, just look at the top there. Even in that picture that they're really red. And they have been lately. Um, I think alcohol might be a part of it. They probably should have came in with white powder on their face in order to combat with the lights and everything because they both look shiny red. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, Canine. CP said 10 times worse than what Seth said. Seth directed it at CP. He did. He did. And he deserved every little bit of it. Please don't get me wrong there. I agree with that 100%. Nothing against Seth, but you could definitely tell which of the two men is much more experienced in the verbal abuse department, and it ain't Seth. Yeah. I mean, I didn't count, but I wonder how many times he said bitch in that. When he couldn't think of anything else to say, he just kept saying that. Oh, yeah, Mama Socks doesn't look well either, yeah. Her face was really drawn in that court picture. Really sad. Really sad. But, I mean, guilt will do that to you. Guilt and stress play havoc with your health, big time. And anybody who's been through a trauma knows that. Call them like you see them. But it's true. I mean, guilt and stress play havoc with your health. High blood pressure, you name it. It's not good for them. Not good. My grannyism for today has a weird little puppy with purple hair. Isn't it strange to see an event happening precisely because it was not supposed to happen? All of this that's gone on for the last year is happening because it shouldn't have happened. Right? Everything that's going on. Hi, Michael. Oh, I'm glad you like this channel. We're happy to have you. That entire side of the courtroom looked like angry, miserable with life people, except for the one guy sitting behind them that looked like a Secret Service agent. I know, right? You gotta wonder, was he there recording, taking notes? Do they have special privileges that they can record? I imagine they do. I imagine they do. I think, I think he was Secret Service and he was sitting behind Katie for a reason. He wanted to hear what was going on, right? To hear what was going on. And thinking about my grannyism today, I just wanted to oh, Proudfoot and Friends, yeah. I wanted to just talk a little bit about the fact that if Sebastian hadn't been taken, none of us would be sitting here today talking about Seth's rant or Chris's anger or any of this, right? None of us would have. Good night, Cheryl. Sebastian should have been heard by CPS and we wouldn't be here today. That's right. That's right. That's right. He wouldn't. So, yeah. So tomorrow, I think I'll take the night off, guys, for Easter. You guys have a blessed Easter with your family. Do whatever it is that you guys like to do. We'll take the night off. Sorry about last night, guys. I think it came on around, I don't know, 8 o'clock, 7:30, something like that. Finally, it was off all day. I was like, oh. I was using my phone hotspot, but I think I'm at my limit for that one as well. But I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Easter. And we will see each other on Monday. Okay. thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. My chocolate bunny is giving me the side eye. Oh, them and Peeps. I love Peeps. I know a lot of people don't like Peeps, but I like Peeps. Sugar and marshmallow, you can't go wrong. And chocolate, yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate and love all of you so much. So have a wonderful, wonderful Easter, and we will talk on Monday night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granny'scrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one.